العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. I wanted to share with you a few similarities between two surahs that are right next to each other in the Quran. Obviously, these are very famous surahs. As a matter of fact, one of them is one we read every single Friday, and that is Surah Al-Kahf, and the surah before it, and that is Surah Al-Israa. And although obviously they're two different surahs, except that the similarities between both of them is really intricate and really detailed. And I'll share with you just some very common ones as opposed to the complicated ones. Just from the outside, what one could notice is that firstly Surah Al-Israa is 111 ayat, Surah Al-Kahf is 110 ayat. So they're pretty much similar also in the terms of their size and how many number of ayat there is in the surah. Now the other thing that is realized is that at the beginning of Surah Al-Israa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would say, سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده ليلا من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى الذي باركنا حوله لنريه من آياتنا. So in other words, the first ayah spoke about how Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ascended to his Lord. سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده. This is meaning that perfection belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who traveled his slave, the one who took his slave for a journey from al-Masjid al-Haram ila al-Masjid al-Aqsa, and Asra means to travel at night, and then he said laylan to make sure that, understand that the travel took place at night. So Allah Azza wa Jal, then he took him from there to the sky. And that we all know of the story of al-Isra wal-Mi'raj. Basically the core of it is that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was taken from earth to the sky. And Allah Azza wa Jal referred to him as Abdihi. سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده, his slave. And in Surah Al-Kahf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala began the surah by saying, Alhamdulillah الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب. All praise and thanks belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. الذي أنزل, the one who revealed the book down onto his slave. So, subhanAllah, in Surah Al-Isra, we're being taught Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is going up to receive wahi. And in Surah Al-Kahf, at the beginning of it, it's telling us that the wahi came down onto the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And in both of the two surah, Allah Azza wa Jal referred to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam as abdihi, as a slave of his. And there is benefit to that, obviously, but that it'll take time. Now, let me go back to the end of the surah now. That is the beginning of the surah. One discussed how Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam went up to the wahi, and then the other one spoke about how the wahi came down to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. At the end of Surah Al-Isra, this is the second last ayah of Surah Al-Isra, second last ayah, meaning ayah 110, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in that, قُلِ ادْعُوا اللَّهَ أَوْ ادْعُوا الرَّحْمَنَ أَيًّا تَدْعُوا فَلَهُ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى. So Allah Azza wa Jalla is saying, call unto, قُلِ ادْعُوا اللَّهَ, call unto Allah by using the name Allah, Ya Allah, or call unto Ar-Rahman by saying Ya Rahman. أَيًّا تَدْعُوا فَلَهُ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى. It doesn't really matter whichever name you use, because to Allah Azza wa Jalla belongs all the most perfect and best and beautiful of names. This is the second last ayah, basically speaking about the names of Allah Azza wa Jal, that they're so vast and they're so many that whichever name you call onto Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah Azza wa Jal answers. In the second last ayah of Surah Al-Kahf, it's exactly similar. In the second last ayah, Allah Azza wa Jal says, قُلْ لَوْ كَانَ الْبَحْرُ مِدَادًا لِكَلِمَاتِ رَبِّي لنفد البحر قبل أن تنفد كلمات ربي ولو جئنا بمثله مددا. Second last ayah in Surah Al-Kahf, Allah Azza wa Jal says, قُلْ لَوْ كَانَ الْبَحْرُ مِدَادًا لِكَلِمَاتِ رَبِّي. Say it that if the seas, if the oceans were all made as ink to write the names of Allah Azza wa Jal and the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you would have dipped the trees into the oceans, which is now ink, and you would have written the names of Allah. The trees would have finished, that is in Surah Luqman, وَأَنَّمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ مِنْ شَجَرَةٍ أَقْلَامٍ, and then the oceans would have finished, and the names of Allah still haven't finished. And this is in Surah Al-Isra, قُلْ لَوْ أُدْعُوا اللَّهَ وَأُدْعُوا الرَّحْمَنَ أَيًّا تَدْعُوا فَلَهُ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى. And then the last, this is the second last ayah of both surah, they're similar. And then the last ayah of both surah, in Surah Al-Isra, Allah Azza wa Jalla, He says, وقل الحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ ولدا ولم يكن له شريك في الملك ولم يكن له ولي من الذل وكبره تكبيرا. The end of the surah, Allah Azza wa Jal disassociates and negates from Himself any partner. So Alhamdulillah الذي لم يتخذ ولدا. All praise and thanks belongs to Allah who never took a child. He didn't never have a child. And he didn't need that because وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ شَرِيكٌ فِي الْمُلْكِ. He had no partner with him in the kingdom. It's Allah Azza wa Jal alone. So this ayah was about the tawheed and about disassociating shirk and partners for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the last ayah of Surah Al-Isra. He used the word وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ شَرِيكٌ فِي الْمُلْكِ. And the last ayah in Surah Al-Kahf, Allah Azza wa Jal, He says قُلْ إِنَّمَا أَنَا بَشَرٌ مِثْلُكُمْ يُوحَى إِلَيَّ أَنَّمَا إِلَهُكُمْ إِلَهٌ وَاحِدٌ فمن كان يرجو لقاء ربه فليعمل عملا صالحا ولا يشرك بعبادة ربه أحدا. So Surah Al-Isra, the last ayah, he told us that he has no son, alhamdulillah, and he told us as well that he has no partner with him in his kingdom. And now in last ayah of Surah Al-Kahf, now he's saying ولا يشرك بعبادة. Therefore you should not associate partners with Allah, because how could you do this if he's already declared for himself he doesn't have this? So then that was the concluding ayah of Surah Al-Kahf. Now this is the other thing. Surah Al-Isra began with سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده, and it ended with وكبره تكبيرا. Actually ended with وقل الحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ ولدا ولم يكن له شريك في الملك. And then the last words were وكبره تكبيرا. So it began with Subhan, which is the Subhanallah part, and it ended with Alhamdulillah, and then the final words were وكبره تكبيرا. And then the beginning of Surah Al-Kahf, which began with Alhamdulillah alladhi anzal. So it's like in the end of Surah Al-Isra, he said وَقُلِ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ. And then at the beginning of Surah Al-Kahf, you'd recite Alhamdulillah alladhi anzala ala abdihi al-kitab wa lam yaj'al lahu 'iwaja. Basically the ulama would say that the true tasbih of Allah only happens when you've perfected Alhamdulillah and Allahu Akbar. Once you've perfected and understood the meaning of Alhamdulillah and Allahu Akbar, these two together, now you've achieved tasbih of Allah. Because the tasbih of Allah, basically, what does that mean? You say Subhanallah, it means you have, you've declared perfection to Allah Azza wa Jal, and you've removed away from Allah all imperfection. That is what tasbih is. When you say Subhanallah, then basically you've declared that Allah is the most perfect, and that all imperfection is disassociated from Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. That can only be done if you really know Allahu Akbar and you really understand the true meaning of Alhamdulillah. Then and only tasbih could be declared in one. And obviously it's a very big discussion with the Subhanallah and the tasbih and where does it come from. But there's one more thing I wanted to share with you, and that is in the middle of both surah. And this is very interesting. In the middle of Surah Al-Isra, Allah Azza wa Jal also gave us the story of Iblis and Adam alayhi salam, when he commanded him to make sujood. And also in the middle of Surah Al-Kahf, that same story comes up, but they're different worded. They're worded differently. And this is the very important thing, is to know why they're worded differently. So let's say in Surah Al-Isra, Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَإِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ قَالَ أَأَسْجُدُ لِمَنْ خَلَقْتَ طِينًا. That's how the ayah came in Surah Al-Isra. وَإِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ, when Allah Azza wa Jal commanded the angels to make sujood to Adam, they made sujood to Adam except, and Allah Azza wa Jal says, إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ, except Iblis did not make sujood. What did he say? قَالَ أَأَسْجُدُ لِمَنْ خَلَقْتَ طِينًا. Immediately Iblis, he said, what am I going to make sujood for someone you've created from clay? That was the statement in Surah Al-Isra. That's what Allah told us Iblis said. He said, am I going to make sujood for someone you've created from clay? In other words, I'm better creation than him. I'm from fire, he's from clay. Why am I going to make sujood for him? In Surah Al-Kahf, Allah Azza wa Jalla, He says, وَإِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ كَانَ مِنَ الْجِنِّ فَفَسَقَ عَنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّهِ. The ayah continues, but let's just stop here. He says, and Allah Azza wa Jalla says, and when we commanded the angels to make sujood to Adam, they all made sujood, إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ كَانَ مِنَ الْجِنِّ, except Iblis, he was from among the jinn. فَفَسَقَ عَنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّهِ, he disobeyed the command of his Lord. Allah did not tell us what he said, he just said he disobeyed the commandment of his Lord. Okay, now why did he do that? In Surah Al-Isra, he told us that Iblis said, أَأَسْجُدُ لِمَنْ خَلَقْتَ طِينًا. And in Surah Al-Kahf, Allah just told us that فَسَقَ عَنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّهِ, he disobeyed the command of his Lord. Now, this is very important to understand, why did this come there and why did that come over there? Surah Al-Isra is a surah, other words also known as Surah Bani Israel. It's another name for the surah, Surah Bani Israel. Obviously, it was given that name because Surah Al-Isra deals a lot with the Jews. Basically, the entire surah is addressing the Jews, all from the beginning to the end. Right? جِئْنَا بِكُمْ لَفِيفًا. At the end of it is speaking about the Jews. At the beginning, لَتُفْسِدُنَّ فِي الْأَرْضِ مَرَّتَيْنِ. It's all about Bani Israel. As a matter of fact, there are ayat that I read in Surah in Salat al-Fajr. Those ayat from وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا وَلَا don't do this and don't do that. All these, the ulama would refer to them as like the 10 commandments that Musa alayhi salam was given. So basically you can see that the entire surah is addressing Bani Israel, and the 10 commandments were given to Bani Israel. And those 10 commandments are in the Quran in 2 places. One in Surah Al-Isra and the other in Surah Al-An'am right towards the end of it. قُلْ تَعَالَوْا أَتْلُوا مَا حَرَّمَ رَبُّكُمْ عَلَيْكُمْ أَلَّا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا till the end of those 3 ayat. So primarily Surah Al-Isra is addressing a Jewish community. And you know the Jews, something that Allah highlights about them in the Quran is that they are people of arrogance. They're arrogant. Allah at the beginning of the surah He said وَلَا تَعْلُنَّ عُلُوًا كَبِيرًا لَا تُفْسِدُنَّ فِي الْأَرْضِ مَرَّتَيْنِ وَلَا تَعْلُنَّ عُلُوًا كَبِيرًا. Allah said about them that you will cause corruption in the land, and you are going to become so arrogant, like some huge arrogance no one has ever seen before. So the Jews, they're known about them is arrogance. The other thing that fortifies this idea of them being arrogant, besides that Allah already spoke and told us about them being arrogant, is that they knew the haqq, they knew the truth, and they knew the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is coming. الَّذِينَ آتَيْنَاهُمُ الْكِتَابَ يَعْرِفُونَهُ كَمَا يَعْرِفُونَ أَبْنَاءَهُمْ. Allah said that the Jews, they know the Prophet, they know him exactly like they can identify their own children. That's how well, that's how good they know him, that's how much knowledge Allah Azza wa Jal gave them. And when you have knowledge and you don't act by it, that is pure arrogance. That is nothing except arrogance. So Bani Israel, the Jews, were an arrogant community. And this is why they deserved غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ, that Allah Azza wa Jal, they earned the anger of Allah because of their arrogance. So because they're an arrogant people, when Allah Azza wa Jal spoke the story of Iblis and Adam alayhi salam, He mentioned the part where arrogance manifests. So Iblis saying, أَأَسْجُدُ لِمَنْ خَلَقْتَ طِينًا is arrogance from Iblis. Iblis is istakbar, he became arrogant. So Allah put that part in this surah because the context of the surah is to Bani Israel who are an arrogant people. Subhanallah. And you see in Surah Al-Kahf, entirely, primarily it's addressing the Christian community. The Surah Al-Kahf, it's because Allah, beginning of it, at the beginning of Surah Al-Kahf, Allah Azza wa Jal would say, الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا قيما لينذر بأسا شديدا من لدنه لينذر بأسا شديدا منه. He warns, وينذر الذين قالوا اتخذ الله ولدا. He warns those who said that Allah Azza wa Jalla has taken a son. Who's the one that said that? The Christians. وينذر. He warns them. So the entire surah is an address to the Christians. And we also know from a hadith that the Christian community came to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, they asked him questions, and then Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, they asked him 3 questions, and they asked him about Dhul Qarnayn, which is at the end of the surah, and they asked him about a few other things where their answers came in Surah Al-Kahf, and then he answered them. So basically Surah Al-Kahf, its entirety, it's an address to the Christians. The Christians are people who weren't as arrogant as the Jews, but what happened with the Christians is that they disobeyed their Lord. They disobeyed Allah. Allah said, وَيُنذِرَ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا اتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ. I warn you, don't say that Allah took a son. and they disobeyed Allah's warning, and they went and said, اتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ وَلَدًا. So because they are disobedient people, they disobeyed the command of Allah. When Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned the story of Adam and Iblis in the Quran, in that surah, in Surah Al-Kahf, He told us about the disobedience of Iblis to Allah Azza wa Jal. So Allah said, فَفَسَقَ عَنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّهِ. Subhanallah. فَفَسَقَ. He disobeyed Allah. He disobeyed the command of Allah, just like the Christians, they disobeyed the command of Allah. And in Surah Al-Isra, Iblis spoke words of arrogance, just like the Jews are people of arrogance. For subhanallah, Allah Azza wa Jal puts what is relevant to the context and the theme and the environment of the surah, and that is the similarities of the both surah. There is a few more, inshallah, we'll see some other time to share more. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.